Big news in the influencer boxing scene. Wade Plem, aka the Wade Concept versus HSTikkyTokky is official for Misfits Boxing. If you have followed the influencer boxing scene at all, you've probably heard the name Wade before. He has covered the scene for a long time with breakdowns and watch parties. This influencer scene is really where his channel started to blow up. He also covers some other stuff like the UFC and Jake Paul's Prospects boxing cards as he does the commentary for those cards. But influencer boxing is really what blew him up, and he's been around for a long time. Outside of people who are actual fighters, he has probably been the biggest name in this scene out of all the people who cover this kind of content. And up until this point, that is all he has been. Someone who covers this scene very well, successfully. He is now stepping into the ring himself, and this is a big risk. I'm going to get into why this is such a big risk for him in a second, but let's talk about the reveal itself. The Wade Concept and Misfits have had a history of beef, I guess you would say. Not on the best of terms currently. Maybe things are getting better now that there is a fight, at least to some extent. But he had a big falling out with KSI and Mams Taylor, who run Misfits, a while back now. He used to commentate on the scene. He used to help out Misfits a lot. He worked for them. Then they had their falling out, and it's been quite a while since then. People kind of thought this feud would build up to a point where he would not be back on Misfits. There's always been some whispers, rumors of people wanting him back, but that's all it's really been up to this point, is just a want from fans. And now it's finally happened, and I did not expect to see this happen, and I don't think many people did. If Wade was ever going to return to Misfits, I think we all thought it was going to be for commentating, not to fight. So on this latest Misfits card, Anissan Gibb versus Slim, right before the main event, KSI makes this big announcement. He says there's a big fight that's coming up, and he brings in Wade Plem as the surprise announcement. Wade Plem versus HSTikkyTokky. And the reveal, it has its ups and downs, I guess you could say. I think the announcement itself is pretty great because it's one of the announcements that Misfits has made where I genuinely believe people didn't see coming. But I think it was just kind of the wrong audience, the wrong card. If it was in the UK, I think it would have been a lot better because people would have known who Wade is, and even HSTikkyTokky for that point. In Qatar, I don't think people knew what was going on, knew who Wade was. So it kind of fell flat on that end. It was okay, and KSI kept it very WWE-like, and that was also okay. The face-off between HSTikkyTokky and Wade was good. I did like that, and I like the announcement itself. But maybe we could have chose a better card. I guess it had to be done then because this fight's probably going to happen in January, so the announcement had to get going. But overall, a cool announcement. I like how they did it. Now, I do think this fight is a great idea, and bringing in Wade Plem to the Misfits scene, also a great idea, and I'm going to tell you what I think is the biggest positive from making this fight, and that is I don't think Wade is going to make the same mistake that countless influencer boxers continue to make, and that is a lack of promotion. So many of these influencer boxers, it's kind of hard to call them that if they don't make content. That's what they just show up and fight, and people really don't know who they are. It's hard for them to build a name, and it kind of just leads up to these random fights on undercards of Misfits that people don't really care about. Wade is someone whose main priority is content. It is making videos. He covers this scene. That is his main goal. It's what it has been. And I think finding someone like that to bring into the scene is the best idea you can do, because that is when the fights are at their biggest, when you can get someone who is actually going to promote, someone who's going to train hard, take it serious, but also promote the fight, make videos throughout the camp, don't just disappear, and build your fight to be the biggest thing it can be. And I think that Wade is going to do that. And I think that's going to be a huge positive for both himself, his channel, and for Misfits. So that is the positive. Now let's talk about the risk I was talking about earlier. HSTikkyTokky, crazy name. It's kind of hard to keep saying it. But he is a very dangerous opponent to take, especially in your first fight. And Wade is 32 years old. He is not super young to be doing this, especially for your first fight. It's not like he's that old, so it's not like it's going to be the biggest deal in the world. But HS is younger. He's stronger, he's faster, he has more power. Wade himself said all of these things, but he still seems confident in his ability to find the knockout in this fight. So many guys with a bigger name, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Wade has a bigger name in this scene. So many of these guys for their first fight would take an opponent who they know they're going to beat. Someone like the opponent that Deji just fought in his like 8th fight on Misfits. He's not even a rookie, but he still took an easy fight. Someone like that is who you would expect someone like Wade to take in his first fight, to build him up, to gain experience, and that's not what he's doing. He did say, because of his age, because he only wants to do a couple of these fights at max, he wants to make a lot of noise during the time he is here. And I gotta respect that. It's awesome because it builds up the fight in your very first one. Why this is even more of a risk is because Wade talks about people's boxing ability, right? He has critiqued people's ability. He watches the training. He makes breakdowns. He points out what people are doing wrong. For someone like that to step into the ring himself and subject himself to all the criticism that he will then receive if he loses this fight is a big risk against a guy with a lot of power. It's dangerous, and I love it, and I respect it a ton. Wade's IQ of the game is definitely stronger than HS. I don't think HS has the best fundamentals in the world, but he is someone who's going to go out there, throw crazy shots, at least be in shape. He has some knowledge of the game. This isn't his first fight, and he is going to go in there swinging, looking for a first round finish, and fighting a guy like that is very dangerous, especially for your first fight. The biggest what if to me for this fight is, can Wade Plem implement what he has learned of this game? Will his time training be enough to implement his game plan? Because if he goes in too timid, thinking too much about what he's going to throw, what he's going to set up, someone like HS is just going to blitz in, and before you know it, it's over. Before you can start thinking about the game plan, before you can start thinking about your movement, it can be over like that in a second with someone like HS in there. So I do think Wade just needs to be game, and he needs to be locked in from the beginning, ready to go, switched on from round one. It's obvious he knows what he's talking about when it comes to boxing, at least more than a lot of other people. And I am very excited to see what he can bring to the table. Because you know how the saying goes, what everyone says after they fought, that everything you prepared for, everything you learned, just goes out the window the moment that bell rings. Will Wade have the composure to implement what he has learned over these years? That is the question. He has announced that his coach for this fight is BJ Flores. You may have heard his name before. He used to train Jake Paul for a lot of his early fights before Jake switched camps. He has put out some clips of Wade on the pads. Here, let's check it out right now. And I think he actually looks better than I thought he would. Some people are saying how great it looks. Some people are saying how bad it looks. That's just what happens when you put out training footage. But I think he looks sharp for someone who's just starting to get going. He still has a few more weeks to train. Like I said, fight should be in January. I know he's going to be training hard. BJ Flores is going to have him working during this camp to be as prepared as he possibly can be. And I'm very excited for this fight. I think it's a great fight, a one that's difficult to pick. Right now, I would say that HS is the favorite. I think most people are probably going to think he's going to win, but I guess we'll see. I think Wade's going to continue to put out content. Depending on how this lead up to the fight goes, I could predict either way. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. I think that's going to wrap it up for today. What do you guys think of this fight? Who do you think wins? Let me know. Subscribe for more combat sports updates, content, reactions, whatever. The support is much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.